The individual mandate, Mike. We got rid of it. That was a big deal. The people trying to stop our movement are the same Washington insiders who spent their careers rigging the system so your losses will be their gains. You know that. These are the same career politicians who presided over decades of... I've been using it a lot. The fake news would have headlines. Trump used a phony number. They'd have headlines. It'd be the biggest story. Trump used... as well. They never corrected it, so I assume... They never corrected it, so I assume, fellas, 60,000 shuttered factories. We closed up 60,000 factories. It didn't seem right. It didn't seem like it would be possible. An avalanche of job-killing regulations, a growing wealth gap, and one ruinous trade deal after another. By the way, those trade deals are getting very good, folks. You will see. We just completed the deal with South Korea. Great deal. We're working with Mexico and Canada. We have to get the Democrats to approve it. We want it to be bipartisan. As you know, you may have read a couple of things about China. I spoke to President Xi, terrific president, a great leader of China. Spoke to him this morning at length, and we'll see what happens. But we're either going to have a good deal and a fair deal, or we're not going to have a deal at all, and that's okay too. Because we are taking in billions and billions of dollars into our treasury, and companies are leaving China because they want to avoid paying these large tariffs. And by the way, when the fake news tells you that you're paying, in the case of China, they've devalued their currency. That helps them. And you know what else they're doing? They're subsidizing those companies. And you're not paying very much if you're paying anything at all. The case of China. And we are taking billions and billions of dollars in. And remember this, and you know it as well as I do. We have never taken in 10 cents from China. We would lose $500 billion a year with China. We rebuilt China. They've done a great job, but they took us for suckers, and that includes Obama and Biden. They took us for suckers. 500 billion. 500 billion. Somebody said, you mean 500 million? That's a lot too, right now. $500 billion. It's actually more than that. I don't want to be too specific, 507. We're fighting against the same far-left politicians that ravaged our great cities and crushed the dreams of African-American middle class. The same people who threw open our borders and allowed drugs, gangs, and illegal labor to devastate our poorest American communities. You know that. Our political opponents look down with hatred on our values and with utter disdain for the people whose lives they want to run. That's the way they've been doing it. And if you take a look at the African American community, how much progress has been made. The lowest unemployment numbers in the history of our country. They called you and us, you remember this? They called us deplorables. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake. I'll never forget, I was making a speech after Hillary used the word deplorables, and I didn't think it was that bad. You know why? She used another word. You know what the other word was? She said deplorables and irredeemables. I think that was worse, but it didn't get picked up. You never know what's going to get picked up. It didn't. I think irredeemables is worse than deplorables. But I'll never forget, I was making a speech the next day. We had a big crowd in a great, great state. And women in particular were wearing, "We are deplorables. The deplorables love you." And there were hundreds and hundreds of people wearing "We are deplorables." And I said, I think Hillary Clinton made a big mistake with that speech. And that is the problem with politics. One word and your career is ruined. You never know. You have to be very careful with the fakers back there. I have news for Democrats who want to return us to the bitter failures and betrayals of the past. We are not going back. We're going on to victory. Going on to victory. Because they'll all take it away as fast as it came. And as Mike Pence said a little while ago, that's why we want a little more time. It's going to be cemented. It's going to be cemented. You know, we have a big decision to make. You know what I'm going to say? We have to come up with a theme for the new campaign, right? Is it going to be Make America Great Again, which is probably and possibly the greatest theme in the history of politics, I think. Make America Great Again. MAGA country, right? MAGA. MAGA. MAGA country. We're in MAGA country. That I can tell you. But you know, today we had a massive day on the stock market. A lot of good things are happening, but we had a very big day, and we're very close to, I think, our 68th record. You know, we've hit all-time records this tremendous. I think it's actually more than that, but it's a lot. So now I say we've made America great again. But how do you give up the #1, call it theme, logo, statement in the history of politics for a new one? But, you know, there's a new one that really works. And that's called Keep America Great, right? Keep America Great. Keep America great. In other words, make America great again. Well, we've really done it. We've rebuilt our military. It's still in the process. We've taken care of our vets. We've cut the hell out of regulations. You know, I've cut more regulations than any president in the history of our country, regardless of the length of their term. So now I say we have a lot of brilliant talent, campaign people. They cost a fortune and they never give me any ideas. I'm only kidding. So now I'm saying, what do we use as our theme, as our statement? So I'm going to ask you to vote on it. I'm going to go Make America Great Again, then Keep America Great. Let me just hear by your cheers what you like. So, in all fairness, Make America Great, the greatest of all time. I really believe that. The greatest of all time. How do you give up the greatest of all time with a new theme? Because you know what's going to happen? If I do it with a new theme, I give up the greatest of all time. And if I lose, people are going to say, what a mistake that was. But we're not going to lose, so it's not going to matter. We're not going to lose. Right? We're not going to lose. Are you ready? First we do Make America Great Again. Then we do Keep America Great. Let me hear it. Ready? Make America Great Again. Not bad. Not bad. If I would have said that 3 years ago, it wouldn't be a contest, right? You ready? Keep America Great. Wow. I'm sorry, MAGA country, but that wasn't too close. I thought you had it won, and then I heard this cheer. My eardrums will never be the same. Keep America great. Pretty good. We're going to keep on fighting for every man and woman and child all across this land. With every ounce of heart and might and sweat and soul, we're going to keep making America great again. And then we will indeed keep America great. We will keep it so great. Better than ever before. We're going to keep it better than ever before. And that is why tonight I stand before you to officially launch my campaign for a second term as President of the United States. Thank you. I can promise you that I will never, ever let you down. I won't. And I am profoundly thankful to my family. I have a great family. Melania, Don, Ivanka, Eric, Tiffany, Barron, Lara, Jared, Robert, Marianne, Elizabeth, and my late brother, Fred Jr. Thank you. We're joined tonight by many great patriots who fight right by our side. Florida's terrific governor. Thank you, Ron. Our First Lady, Casey DeSantis. What a job you're doing. Thank you. Thank you, Ron, Casey. Thank you. What a job. And again, your great Lieutenant Governor, who I hear is fantastic, right? Jeanette Nunes. Jeanette. Thank you. Thank you, Jeanette. Beautiful job. Your Florida CFO, Jimmy Patronis. Some really brilliant, tough, wonderful friends who have helped me so much. Senators Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, Marco Rubio of Florida, and Rick Scott of Florida. These are great people. They're tough, they're smart, and they love our country. Thank you very much. Rick, Marco, Lindsey, thank you. Members of Congress, warriors also. Boy, they're up there. You want them protecting you, I'll tell you. They don't stop. Matt Gaetz, Ted Yoho, and Michael Waltz. Thank you. And also all of our friends and our supporters, you've been incredible. This has been a tremendous night. You've really been incredible. Since the very first day I walked through the doors of the White House, I have never forgotten who sent me there. You did. You did. You did. You did. You all did. When I get behind my desk in the beautiful Oval Office, I think about only one thing: how the American people are going to win, win, win today. And I'm fighting for you, and I think you see that. Not easy. But I love it, and the reason I love it, because there have been few presidents that have been able to do what we've been able to do for you, and it is a great, great feeling. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Together, we're breaking the most sacred rule in Washington politics. We are keeping our promises to the American people. Because my only special interest is you. I don't have a special interest. I don't care. I don't care. And by the way, a woman who has been so good, so talented, so wonderful, and we're sort of going to be losing her. I have a feeling she's going to be running for a certain gubernatorial position. Don't worry about it, Ron. It's not going to be in Florida. It won't be in Florida, I promise you, Casey. She'd be tough, right? But a woman who's a special woman, and her father, by the way, he's out there fighting for us all the time. Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
President's re-election campaign officially underway as of tonight. We'll have coverage of that tomorrow and for the next year and a half. But live coverage of the president's announcement continues tonight on Sean Hannity's show. See you tomorrow. The president introducing Sarah Huckabee Sanders. He has announced he's running for re-election. My opening monologue, full reaction. Let's go back. Well, now to Sarah Huckabee Sanders as the re-election campaign of the president kicked off tonight in Orlando.
Thank you, Mr. President. This has been truly the honor of a lifetime. One of the most incredible experiences anybody could ever imagine. And that's because I've had the chance to be on the front row of history and watch you drastically change our country for the better. You've made America great. You're going to continue to make America great. I couldn't be prouder to be part of your team. I'm going to go spend a little time with my kids, but no one will be a stronger voice and a more fierce advocate for this president, because he's fighting for all of the people in this room and for all of the people that you represent all over the country, and he's going to have an incredible 6 more years to make our country as strong as it's ever been. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
We're going to miss her. We're going to miss her. Thank you, Sarah. Incredible. A warrior. Since the election, we have created 6 million new jobs. Nobody thought that would be possible. They said it wouldn't be possible. We have lifted more than 6 million Americans off of food stamps, and we're getting off of welfare and back into the workforce, and they're so happy. They are so happy. The unemployment rate is the lowest rate it's been in over 51 years. Think of that. And as I said before about African American, I now say also about Hispanic American and Asian American unemployment have reached the lowest rates in the history of our country, unemployment. And African American poverty has also reached by far the lowest rate in history. These are incredible numbers. And today, right now as we speak, almost 160 million people are working. That's more than ever before. It's the first time ever the number of people is almost 160 million, and we're going to be breaking that number soon. Women filled 60% of the new jobs created last year, and women's unemployment is now the lowest it's been in 74 years. Wages are rising at the fastest rate in many decades, and really what's nice is they're rising the fastest for the lowest income Americans. Isn't that nice? Percentage-wise, the fastest. And our pledge to the American worker through Ivanka Trump, she has worked so hard. She's worked hard, has secured commitments to provide private sector training opportunities to nearly 10 million Americans. It's been an incredible story. It's been an incredible story. Great job. To get relief to working families, we passed the largest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history, the largest. We doubled the child tax credit, and the typical family of four earning $75,000 has seen a tax cut of over $2,000 a year. And that money goes right back into our economy. Our record-breaking regulatory reduction campaign has saved every American household an average of $3,000 per year. And we've ended the last administration's cruel and heartless war on American energy. What they were doing to our energy should never be forgotten. The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world. And something I want to make clear to the media, we have among the cleanest and sharpest, crystal clean, you've heard me say it, I went crystal clean, air and water anywhere on earth. We are creating a future of American energy independence, and yet our air and water are the cleanest they've ever been by far. And importantly, we are reversing decades of calamitous trade policies. When I came into office, we inherited one of the worst trade deals ever negotiated, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Would have put you all out of work. TPP would have dealt the death blow to the U.S. auto industry, which, by the way, is doing great. Many, many plants are now under construction in Michigan and Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. They hadn't built one in decades, and now they're all over the place. In my first week, I withdrew the United States from the job-killing catastrophe that we know what that is, TPP and the Paris Environmental Accord. Not too good. Not too good. I thought I was going to take a lot of heat on that. I took none. Would have cost us trillions and trillions of dollars. And we're replacing the NAFTA disaster with the brand new USMCA. And USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada, will create at least 75,000 new jobs for American auto workers and give a massive boost to our farmers and ranchers and growers all across the Sunshine State, and will hopefully soon have bipartisan support because everybody wants it to happen. It replaces one of the worst trade deals ever made, NAFTA. NAFTA was a beauty. It was really good if you want to see everybody leave our country. Thanks to our tariffs, American steel mills are roaring back to life. You know that. And we've taken historic action to confront China's chronic trading abuses. It should have been done a long time ago, but the days of stealing American jobs and American companies, American ideas and wealth, those days are over. In the 8 years before I took office, on average, we lost 2,000 manufacturing jobs a month. Since my inauguration, we've added 16,000 manufacturing jobs a month. That didn't happen by accident. Remember the statement from the previous administration? You'd need a magic wand to bring back manufacturing. Well, we'll tell Sleepy Joe that we found the magic wand. The sleepy guy. And to remedy past injustices, we passed groundbreaking criminal justice reform. We ended the Clinton-era crime policies that unfairly affected the African-American community. So unfair. We are boldly confronting the opioid and drug addiction, and you know what's happening. Drug addiction is the scourge of our country and many other countries, and we have made so much progress. So much progress. Opioid down 17, 18, 19, and 21% in some places. And I want to thank our First Lady for having worked so hard on that. Thank you. Thank you. And we're expanding affordable health care, creating plans 60% cheaper than Obamacare. And we passed something I'm very proud of. They've wanted to pass it for 45 years. All of the gentlemen that are sitting here from Congress, your congressmen, your senators, they helped us. It's called Right to Try. We have the greatest medical labs in the world. We have incredible things under advisement. And our people, if they were very sick, they were terminally ill, they couldn't get anything because people said, no, it might hurt them. They're terminally ill. So I said, that doesn't make sense. And these people, if they were rich or had money, they'd go to Asia, they'd go to Europe, they'd go all over the world looking for a cure because the FDA would not approve what we call Right to Try. What a beautiful name, Right to Try. And I got it approved. After 44 years, I got it approved. And I saw a beautiful young woman the other day on television, Miss Harp. Incredible woman. Did anyone see her? She was incredible. And she was so thankful, and she's doing so well. And they were giving her instructions on what you do when you're dying. And then all of a sudden, this happened. And now it looks like she's going to be around for a long time. And there are many, many cases like that. Right to Try. And I hope nobody in this room ever needs it. But we now have it. For the first time in half a century, we've reduced the price of prescription drugs, and our amazing veterans are no longer left to languish and die on endless waiting lists, standing on line, waiting for a doctor. We passed VA choice so they can see their doctor. Our veterans were waiting online for 2 days, 7 days, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. You had veterans waiting online that could have easily been taken care of. They waited so long they became terminally ill in many cases. The stories are horrible. We passed VA choice. You go out now, you get a doctor, you fix yourself up, the doctor sends us the bill, we pay for it. And you know what? It doesn't matter because the life and the veteran is more important. But we also happen to save a lot of money doing that. Can you believe it? VA choice for the veteran. They've been trying to get that passed also for about 44 years. And we also passed VA accountability so that when somebody does bad things or mistreats our wonderful veterans, we couldn't do anything with them. They were protected. Between civil service and unions and all of the problems, it didn't matter. You couldn't do anything. Now you can just say, you're fired. Get out. Get out. Get out. And as we fight to make life better for all Americans, the Democrat Party has become more radical, more dangerous, and more unhinged than at any point in the modern history of our country. On no issue are Democrats more extreme and more depraved than when it comes to border security. The Democrat agenda of open borders is morally reprehensible. It's the greatest betrayal of the American middle class and, frankly, American life our country has as a whole. Nobody's seen anything like it. People are pouring in, but we've stopped them. And now, as I said, we have other people helping us, including the country of Mexico. Let's see how it works out. But we need you to call your Democrat congressman and your Democrat senator and get them to pass legislation working with these great men over here to close up the loopholes and to solve the asylum problem, which can be done in 15 minutes. Illegal mass migration brings in millions of low-wage workers to compete for jobs, wages, and opportunities against the most vulnerable Americans, cutting off their path to the American dream. Thanks to Democrat policies, school children across the country are being threatened by the vicious gang MS-13 that ICE, by the way, is taking out of our country and dropping them back home by the thousands, Mass illegal migration reduces living standards and strains public resources. If Democrat officials had to send their children to those overcrowded, overburdened schools, they would not tolerate it for 1 minute. What's happening with their policies are horrible. Our immigration laws are a disgrace, and the Democrats can get together with the Republicans and solve the problem quickly. 1 meeting. Democrats in California even voted to give free health care to illegal aliens instead of helping homeless Americans in Democrat-run cities. Democrats support sanctuary cities. Thank you, Governor Ron, for ending that whole disaster. They release dangerous criminal aliens into our communities. Ron DeSantis, great job. Great. Really great. Thank you. So smart. It's common sense. It's common sense. Sanctuary cities are an open attack on American law enforcement and American families, sacrificing American lives in pursuit of a callous political agenda. That's all it is. No one who supports sanctuary cities should be allowed to run for President of the United States. Republicans believe welfare, schools, hospitals, and public resources should be protected for all Americans. And yes, we are doing things that few others have even tried to do. We are making progress like nobody would believe. Wait till you see some of the things that you're going to be hearing about over the next 2 months. We believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding citizens, not for criminal aliens. And we will always support and protect the heroes of ICE, Border Patrol, and law enforcement generally throughout our country. Thank you. And in the ultimate act of moral cowardice, not one Democrat candidate for president, not a single one, has stood up to defend the incredible men and women of ICE and Border Patrol. The job they do is incredible, against all odds with the bad laws. They don't have the character, the virtue, the spine to do it. We have to thank them, and we have to thank, boy, law enforcement. What a job they do. It's time to pass Kate's Law, end sanctuary cities, end catch and release, deport vicious gang members, which we're doing, stop human trafficking, stop illegal immigration, and establish a modern immigration system based on skills, contributions, and based on merit. We want people to come into our country based on merit. More than 120 Democrats in Congress have also signed up to support crazy Bernie Sanders' socialist government takeover of health care. He seems not to be doing too well lately. They want to end Medicare as we know it and terminate the private health insurance of 180 million Americans who love their health insurance. America will never be a socialist country, ever. Republicans do not believe in socialism. We believe in freedom, and so do you. We will defend Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors. We will defend it like nobody else. And we will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions, always, always. Virtually every top Democrat also now supports taxpayer-funded abortion right up to the moment of birth, ripping babies straight from the mother's womb. Leading Democrats have even opposed measures to prevent the execution of children after birth. You saw that in Virginia. Republicans believe that every life is a sacred gift from God. That is why I have asked Congress to prohibit extreme late-term abortion. Day by day, we are rebuilding our country at home. We are restoring America's standing all around the world. we are respected as a country again. After past leaders slashed military budgets, we are rebuilding the U.S. Armed Forces with $700 billion last year and $716 billion this year, far more than ever before. And with the help of Vice President Mike Pence, we are creating the Space Force. That's where it's going to be, the Space Force. We're insisting that our foreign partners and allies pay their fair share. And thanks to our brave warriors, the ISIS caliphate that you've been hearing so much about has been totally obliterated 100%. We have repaired America's friendship with our cherished ally, the State of Israel. And as I heard Mike saying before, we recognized the true capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. And we recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And I withdrew the United States from the disasters, just a disaster, the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, and imposed the toughest ever sanctions on the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism. We're charting a path to stability and peace in the Middle East because great nations do not want to fight endless wars. They've been going on forever. Starting to remove a lot of troops. We're finally putting America first. In Latin America, our country once again stands against corrupt communist and socialist regimes, and we support the people of Cuba and Venezuela in their righteous struggle for freedom. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Lindsay. And nothing would make us happier than to be able to work with Democrats to rebuild our nation's infrastructure, to bring down drug prices, to compete with other countries, and to dominate the future as one American team. It can happen. It can happen. It can happen. It's looking like the Democratic Party does not want to do that, but it can happen, and it very well might. There's so many great things we can do right now in a bipartisan way, but they've been afflicted with an ideological sickness that protects foreign borders, but refuses to protect our borders, that promotes jobs overseas, but allows our factories to close, that promotes democracy abroad, but shreds our Constitution at home, that declares support for free speech and free thought, but relentlessly suppresses them both, and that constantly savages the heroes of American law enforcement. We don't want that. We don't want that. No matter what label they use, a vote for any Democrat in 2020 is a vote for the rise of radical socialism and the destruction of the American dream. So don't ever forget, this election is about you. It's about your family, your future, and the fate of your country. We begin our campaign with the best record, the best results, the best agenda, and the only positive vision for our country's future. Together, we will continue unleashing the power of American enterprise so every American can know the dignity of work and the pride of a paycheck. We will elect a Republican Congress to create a safe, modern, and lawful system of immigration.